with so many drivers inside, a hybrid and a crossover, you might be thinking this is a huge IEM, right? But no, it is in fact pretty much fairly sized and comparable to many other type of IEM of this caliber, and it is surprisingly very lightweight. I have placed it on my scale and it registers at around just over 4 grams, so which means that this is super lightweight to be worn, and of course being made of resin, you can expect it to be super comfortable as well. I have been able to wear it without any kind of discomfort or any kind of abrasiveness because there's totally no sharp edges at all with this IEM. But I must mention that, as you can see here, it comes with this premium cable, which is kind of a bit hefty, kind of a bit thick. The build construction is super nice and it is heavily braided. It is kind of a bit heavy, the cable itself. You can't miss it. You will feel the weight of the cable itself. And I think the one that bothers me the most is that looping through my ear here, because this section is also braided quite heavily. After a while, after the mark of 1 hour, I can feel that it is tugging at my ear kind of a bit, harder than normal. So there might be an element of abrasiveness on the outer side of the ear. It depends on your ear shape as well. But other than that, I don't see any issue at all. It comes with 2 types of ear tip, which is a silicone tip and also foam tip. And I have found myself to be using the silicone tip most of the time because I was able to achieve a good amount of seal, which is very important for this type of IEM. So I am not hearing that much of ambient noise seeping as I'm walking on the roadside like this at all. No issue at all. With a very low impedance rating, rated at just 9 ohm, I repeat 9 ohm, and sensitivity at 100 dB, you might be wondering, this Martilo here is easy to drive, right? And my answer is no. When I connect it directly to my Xiaomi Mi 90, which is a phone, not very powerful, I needed to crank the volume in excess of around 75 out of 100 to get proper headroom. And this is the kind of IEM that you want to use as high as possible volume in order to enjoy the Thunderous, the beautiful bass that it offers. So when I scale it up with power, at least with my favorite dongle here, which is Venture Electronic Devastator, as attached here to my phone, directly to my Xiaomi 15, even that, I need to crank the volume all the way to 65 out of 100. That is pretty much similar to most magnetic planar, hard to drive magnetic planar, which I have in my collection to achieve proper listening headroom. And only then, I was able to hear something which I would consider as wholesome and full sounding. And it scales even better after I attach it to my Heartfeel R1 R2R dongle, which is exceedingly powerful and officially the most powerful dongle to date. I needed volume at around just 2 out of 10 to drive this Martilo properly. This thing needs power to shine. Let's just go straight to the point. Punch Audio Martilo is a bass head IEM, through and through, designed from the ground up, from nothing into something to be a bass head monster, Thunderous bass head monster. And because it is a bass head IEM, I'm just going to skip on some of the elements when it comes to using this Punch Audio Martilo as a listening device for certain type of music. For example, I would definitely not use this Martilo listening to classical music or even technical jazz or even certain type of orchestra music where precision, where neutrality, where linearity with the dynamic range is required. This is intended for listening to bass heavy music. Let's just start with this particular music here, which is one of my favorite from That World. The most bassy track that I have in my collection, heavy laden with electronic bass and also percussion bass. It is one of the best examples to test your IEM if they can handle Thunderous, huge, massive bass. Because that particular track has been designed to be listened using a speaker rather than headphone or even IEM. So when I use most other IEM listening to that particular song, what I'm hearing is distortion in the lower frequency, especially when the sub-bass hit deep and hard. And this Martilo, impressively, does not exhibit any kind of distortion at all. Even when I crank the volume really high, definitely very clean sounding, does not exhibit any kind of muddiness, does not exhibit any kind of boominess or any kind of slowness in the way it presents the mid-bass all the way to the sub-bass. Thunderous, impactful mid-bass, which is rich with texture and definition, detail, and it extends really deep into the lowest frequency all the way to the deepest region of the sub-bass itself. That particular song has two basses. So which means that you're gonna have one for low key, low octave, rumble, all the way to the sub-bass region. And you have one bassist focusing only on the clunking, high pitch side of the bass itself, string bass. That is one of the very best example if you want to try string bass performance of any IEM. And simply put, this Martilo here offers some of the very best sound which I have heard so far from that particular song. And of course, it is not limited to my type of music, which is mainly metal or industrial metal. It is also highly suitable for every type of bass music, even from Madonna, even from certain type of electronic music, Depeche Mode, you name it. And of course, absolutely suitable for hip-hop music. So now that we know this Punch Audio Martilo is a perfect bass head machine, but how about the rest of the sound frequency? So let's just have a look at the rest of the sound frequency, starting with the mid-range itself. I am pleasantly surprised because despite being designated as a bass head IEM, this Martilo seems to perform exceedingly well with the mid-range. It offers, in fact, something which I would consider as being transparent and neutral. Because I am hearing the kind of vocal which does not exhibit any kind of coloration, it is in fact sounding as how it was intended to be. And even the instrument, the attack, the decay itself is just simply accurate. However, when it comes to upper frequency, this Martilo here, I would regard as being safe tune. Safe tune because it does not exhibit the kind of treble which may be pleasing to treble head. Yes, it is sparkly, it is energetic, it is vibrant, it offers the kind of deep enough extension, but it is not offensive at all. It does not sound sharp at all. As a result of that, the overall sound of this Martilo is in fact quite organic, does not exhibit any kind of metallic tint to the timbre itself. I am just simply impressed. And of course, last but not least, technicalities. Despite being regarded as a bass head IEM, this Martilo is in fact quite a capable IEM when it comes to resolution, imaging, details, perhaps because it is a hybrid with multiple drivers, so you can expect the capability to resolve fast-paced music. Pace, rhythm and timing is definitely on par with many top-tier IEM. About the only thing that I wish could have been done better is the soundstage because it is more circular rather than wide and it does not sound open enough to my ear, which is to be expected for many type of hybrid IEM. You get something which is very circular, holographic, but not quite open sounding. When it comes to comparison, I'm just going to openly admit that I don't have that much of experience with bassy IEM because most of the time I tend to avoid them because I don't like, all that muddy or even boomy type of IEM. But definitely this is not the muddy type or boomy type of IEM. In fact, I have found myself to be enjoying it immensely. So if I were to compare it with some of the IEM which I have tried so far, anything from $5 all the way to $3,500, this is without doubt, I'm just going to openly declare that the very best yet this year, 2025, or even the year before that. And I will explain why. Let's just quickly compare it with the most expensive bassy IEM which I have tried, which I have used so far, which is Campfire Audio Trifecta. The biggest issue that I have with that Trifecta is that it handles transient speed, pace, rhythm and timing really badly when it comes to the lower frequency. It sounded just a bit too muddy or too boomy for my taste. And of course, I'm pretty sure there are so many options available now if you love bassy IEM. But at least from my experience, from my perspective, when it comes to something which is bassy, Thunderous bassy, this is without doubt the very best, which I would recommend now in 2025. Thank you so very much for watching the video until the end. Without skipping, I hope. Now click like and subscribe, and also follow me on Instagram under the name of Andy AV. And also, if you'd like to support me directly, you can join the membership below for behind the scene, especially for AAV Insider and above, which will allow you to see what I am doing behind the scene.